talk about that later on.
You have got a fan base here then.
The hype train has left the station.
How old did you say this was?
12 years.
12 years, yeah.
Man, it is good. We just threw all of that on the floor, and this man has no regard for safety. He is not wearing shoes. He could go down while using it.
And John's dead. Wow. That didn't take long enough, but I'm sure he'll come back.
Man, I get so into that intro every time. It's so fun. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Holy shit, how the hell are you? I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about infinity barrels, infinity bottles, infinity things. I don't know if I can call it infinity things, whatever. I want to talk to you about making your own home blends. But before we do that, let's hit on some of the bourbon news real quick. Jay is not with me tonight, as I'm sure you've noticed. So he is in Kentucky right now. He's going to be selecting some barrels at Bullet, Elijah Craig, and Wilderness Trail. I'm pretty sure he's going to grab bourbon for all of them, but don't hold me to it. There could be rye mixed in there with some of those, namely Wilderness Trail. I'm not sure what's going to be going on with it. Stay tuned also for an upcoming episode with Dr. Pat from Wilderness Trail. That'll be fun. I think we're looking at June for that, but again, schedules get a little bit crazy. We schedule things a couple of months out ahead of time. So circling back, Jay is in Kentucky right now, getting all of the whiskey that we need. So I wanted to push forward here, do a little bit of my own thing, have a little whiskey with you guys. By the way, let me know what you are drinking in the comments down below here, right there. Yep, go ahead. Nope, type it in. Right, yep. Right where we talking about. Yeah, oh, there you go. There you go. Put that in there. Let me know what you're drinking. It is important. I do like to know because, I mean, nobody wants to drink alone. It's interesting. I can't wait to get into this. So I do want to talk a little bit about whiskey, but before that, I want to go into some spring cleaning stuff. Talk about some of the things that we've been doing here at the house. We put in a big hockey rink. You know, with the whole COVID thing, we had the kind of the quiet time. Everybody's kind of sticking to their own place, their own home, doing their own thing. We built a big hockey rink in the backyard. And what I'm going to do is, I mean, the liner for the hockey rink got totally ruined. I mean, like I like to blame it on other people, but most of myself flying into the boards, you know, just getting buckled on this thing and putting my skates right through it. We tore the liner up. It's not going to hold water again for another year. So we're going to go ahead and cut this thing up and we're going to make a big projector screen. And we will do movie nights out in the field. So we'll hang the projector screen from the barn. And we'll do movie nights for the summer. So I think this is going to be like, we're going to shift from a COVID style, socially distant winter activity into a spring/summer activity, which will be fun. And going a step further from that, I've also done a little bit of Dolby Atmos upgrades to the home theater with some of the Philips HDMI sync stuff. And so, I mean, inside and outside, we're basically just kicking the shit out of movie night. Hopefully, you guys are doing the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this real quick just to warm up a little bit. Check it out before we dive in. It's actually the first taste I've had of that. And I wanted to make sure it didn't absolutely suck before we started talking about it. I should have done that earlier, but it actually works out decent. It's fine. So all the other stuff aside, let's talk whiskey. So something that, I mean, as you've noticed following the channel, Jay and I do a lot of single barrel stuff. We love choosing single barrels, you know, A, for the community, but B, just because it's fun to line up a whole pile of samples, go through them all and see which ones are the best. Just the other week, we picked a great barrel from Barrel Craft Spirits. And I mean, that was like one of those experiences where we had everything on the table. We had finished whiskey. We had, we had rye whiskey in there, bourbon, blended bourbon, and it was just like being able to go through those and choose the barrel that was the best for that night was really fun. The other side of that same coin is sometimes you just like to mix it up a little bit and go away from it. I mean, like tracking down the latest release or trying to keep on top of which single barrels are the best ones, especially people who chase down things, whether it's a particular recipe or a particular warehouse. There's so much like minutia with single barrel selections that it could just be taxing. And sometimes I like to kind of take a step back from that and hit up something more simple. Rye whiskey in particular, I really, really dig. It's versatile. You could use it in a cocktail. It's great, neat. I personally like to put it on the rocks. Like, it's one of the very, very few things that I like to drink on the rocks. And sometimes I'll take a little bit of rye, especially if it's hot out in summertime, put it on the rocks and just sip that, whether it's at camp or fishing or just having a good time in the fall even. And just have a quick minute to enjoy something in a little bit of a different way. And so one of the things I want to talk to you guys about was, as you can see here, I've created my own little decanter blend. This is something that I mixed up today. I was a little bit tired of going through the same old stuff, and I thought, hey, I've got an empty decanter here. So one step back is the decanter usually contains my holiday schmooze, which is sort of a blend that I use for eggnog or glog or whatever type of holiday drink it is that you're going to be making. I will blend up this particular blend, and I can put the recipe for that in the show notes for this if you want to. So go ahead and just take a look right down there. And there'll be a quick recipe for that, which is a totally easy thing to do. And I like to put that into like a homemade eggnog or something like that around the holidays. But once that's all gone, and here we are, coming right around the springtime quickly here, I like to dig in and make myself another blend. And so this is a kind of a one-off blend. And if you remember back to our blending episode with Penelope Bourbon, which, here's a quick spoiler for you. Since Jay's not here, I'll let you know. We're going to be sitting down with Penelope again to do another blend with them soon. And this one is going to be a little bit of a different style than the last one. It's not just going to be a blend that we're going to simply bottle up. That's probably all I can say about it. But anyway, very soon we'll be sitting down with Penelope to go over some of their latest stock and do some of the latest things that they've got. And that'll be a fun one. So looking ahead to what I've got here, right there, is a small blend that I've done where I've tried to take the profile from ryes that I like. So we're talking Canadian and American rye. And I've blended them together in a not super proportionate way and not a super specific way. I'm going to go ahead and make a quick note here on which one of these I forgot to put into my list. And so I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of notes here, share them with you guys, and then I'm going to let you know as I go through it what I've put into this blend. And then if it's something that you have a spare decanter and you want to start putting together, then I would encourage you to do the same thing, because this is a really, really fun thing to do. I mean, this is sort of how you skip the hype of a single barrel and how you bypass the need for that super allocated annual release. And you go ahead and you get yourself something that's pretty awesome that you didn't make it, right? But you sort of created the blend. So let's go ahead and dig in here. So on the nose here, knowing what's going on here. Since I made this, I know that there's some element of finished rye whiskey in this. But immediately on the nose, it just jumps right out with a sweet and spicy combination of rye. A little bit of like a bright caramel type of thing is happening here. Punchy rye bread, a little bit of pepper on the background too. Really nice. Even a little bit of vanilla come through. I mean, there's a little bit of that like Kentucky style, almost like a bourbon nose. Let's take a quick sip here and check it out. Okay, so this is not in its final form. I will adjust this. Definitely. There's something in there that's not 100% the way I wanted it to go. But again, I mixed this up earlier today. It needs a little bit more time to mingle together. But that said, I do think that on the nose, it does what it should. I'm catching a little bit more fruit on it now as I kind of give it a swirl here and go back through it. try to line this up with some focus so you can sort of see the color on it. I mean, it's a little bit darker than your average rye. Again, leaning into that profile of being partially finished. So in this blend, I've put some Whistle Pig 12 year, which is their blended and finished product. I put some, sorry about smashing that on there. I'm not used to having the microphone in this sideways position here. I've got a heavier portion of Knob Creek Rye, which on its own, I think is damn near as quintessential as it gets. On top of that, I've layered in some Alberta Premium, which is a note that I just made there a minute ago. I forgot that I had added that in there. I had to type it in so I didn't forget it as I was sharing the blend with you guys. This is also containing some High West, the Midwinter Nights Dram, Act 8, Scene 3, which is, I think, probably where most of that fruit is coming from. The Whistle Pig 12 carries a little bit with it, but not quite like the fig cookies that you get from the Midwinter Nights Dram. On top of that, I put in some Whistle Pig 10-year single barrel, which was from I think it was the first single barrel selected at the Whistle Pig farm when they finally reopened for doing picks after their COVID shutdown. So that's kind of a cool tie-in there. That was from a store here in Maine called Damon's. And then finally on there is an Elijah Craig Rye, which I think sort of bolsters that Knob Creek Rye. It's a little bit softer, a lot sweeter. And it kind of, I mean, that really is a rye that drinks almost like a bourbon. It's not super spicy, not super strong. It doesn't really check off the boxes as a rye on its own, although it does taste nice. So as I taste this, right off the nose, obviously, I catch that finished element from the Whistle Pig 12 and the Midwinter Nights Dram. Fuck, I can't say that. Is it Midwinter's Night? No, it's Midwinter Nights Dram. Shit, that's confusing as hell. But the fruit comes through on that, and it smells really great, and it works in there too. I'm unsure if I would want that to be dialed down just a notch or dialed up 2 notches. I think I would almost go, if I could dial up the nose of that just a bit, I would. But I don't think I need any more of it on the palate. Like, it's just right on the palate, and maybe adding in. So this is kind of where the science, aka the fuckery, comes into play. I would almost say that the Knob Creek Rye or even the Elijah Craig Rye is sort of like, and man, I hate using this term for it, but it's almost like a filler, right? This is something that's not necessarily your major flavor profile here, but it's sort of balancing and holding up the rest of these flavors. I think that I like where that sits in there. Geez, I don't know. No, I might leave those where they are. The Alberta Premium could come up a little bit though, because that's such a strong, punchy, delicious rye on its own. And I feel like it's not in concert here. I mean, it is playing not even second fiddle. It's just sitting in the background. So ultimately, I think that I will, as I adjust this, dial in some more of the Alberta Premium as I drink this down a little bit. So proportionally, it's going to change a lot. Again, the beauty of blending these things is that you get to, with minor adjustments, totally change the profile of the entire bottle every time you go through it, which for me is super fun. I really like doing this. Like I mentioned earlier, we did this with Penelope. I want to say we did our first blend with them in December, where we made a private blend and we bottled it up for our bourbon. And then we sat down with the guys from Breaking Bourbon and Sealbox, and we tasted ours alongside theirs. And we got to sort of compare the two different private blends together. And that was a fun experience too, going through those. It's not quite like making your own and then adjusting it as you go, but it's almost more fun to sort of make something and have one of your buddies make something, compare them, taste them next to each other, and see whose sort of checks off the boxes in a way that you guys both like. Let's go back in for one more taste of this thing here. Give it another swirl. It's good. Man, it grows on me, but rye kind of does that anyway. That sweetness from the nose and that sort of a fig cookie type of thing kind of fades into almost a shortbread, and then comes right back up in with the spicy rye background, and then the Canadian rye really kind of takes off there. That's where I'm really catching the Whistle Pig 10, the single barrel, and it sort of works its way. It might be some of the Alberta Premium coming through now that I sort of dissected a little bit more, but I would like that to be a little bit more front of the palette, front stage, sing and lead, just because it's such a fun expression. But so that's kind of where I'm at with it today. I've got the decanter here that I would love to see some pictures of. If you guys have any of those, shoot them over to me. I don't know if you guys are Discord users or not. You should be. You can catch up with Jay and I pretty much any day. We're in there. Well, I guess you could say frequently. We would love to chat with you guys, share some photos, bullshit a little bit, talk about it. Hit us up on social media as well if you wanted to. You could find me over at thebourbonfinder.com. If you want to get in touch with Jay, you can hit him up at Whiskey Raiders. He's also on Instagram at Whiskey Raiders. We share the weekly.whiskey handle there on Instagram. We're not super active on there yet, but we are dialing that up a bit because we know that you guys are going to be sharing all those pictures of your home blends, right? So hopefully we can connect there. It'd be good to see you guys. And other than that, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been a pretty fun segment here. It's not often that I get to kind of steal the mic and run with it. But since I did, I think, well, maybe I'll have another pour of this thing, see what it evolves into, and maybe we can have a little bit more fun with it. So for now, take it easy. Cheers, guys.